Hey, 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 it's Tina Lorraine, your certified abundant mind coach. But tonight is our Ghostwriting Wednesday, and so we are on tonight for a very interesting young lady who I am very much interested in interviewing, which is why she's on my program tonight. She is a femme fatale, so to speak. She's a film writer, producer. Well, I'm gonna let her tell you about herself um when she joins me. I think, hey, Lexi, I'm gonna let her on. Hopefully, I'm doing it right. I think you're gonna come on now. You're here? Where are you? There
Oh,
she is in her
hi.
pink mohawk, which
I
I
know.
love. Hi, Sid. Now, if I keep calling you Lexi, it's because,
Yeah.
yeah, we got it. Okay, so
Yeah.
hello. How are you doing, Miss Sid Lattimore?
I'm doing good. How are you? I'm sorry. I'm trying to fix the camera. I don't know if it's okay.
I can see you.
Okay, cool. Sweet.
Yeah. I got questions, girl. I got questions because I will say something. I'm going to say something as soon as I let you speak for a minute. I guess we could give people time to come on, but we could just
Yeah,
kind of chat for a couple minutes.
sure.
But anyway, tell us about who you are.
Um,
Tell us
I'm
a little about yourself.
my name is Sid Lattimore, and I'm a filmmaker, producer, writer, and mostly in the Orlando, Florida area. Um, and I make independent like horror and sci-fi films for the most
But soon to be universal.
part. Huh?
Soon to be universal. Hey, Ashley.
Hey
Hey,
Ash.
Ashley. I see Ashley.
Hi Ash.
Yes, I said soon to be universal because I got questions.
Oh snap.
But okay, go ahead. No, no, no. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Who me?
What else were you saying? Did I
Oh
cut you off?
that. I mean that was pretty much it. I mean like I do other stuff, but it's mostly like just it's mostly film. But I am kind of like working on other things that I could get into later though. But mostly just film.
Okay, well, let me just say a little bit about this young lady right here.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna say two words, and I'm just gonna say my mind was blown, and I'm gonna say four corners. I'm gonna say four corners. Girl, that move. Okay, okay. Alexis makes short film. Sid makes short films,
Yeah, Alexis or Sid, that's fine. I only
and
use the name Sid for an alias mostly. So
oh, okay. Well, oh, is that your graphic writing, ghost writing name or whatever?
yeah.
Okay, well, if I interchange Sid and Lexi, it's because I'm used to calling her Lexi, but yes, Sid is also her professional name. So, um, I'm blown away by in this movie. It's going to seem like it's not the most obvious thing, which is you made a movie. I think what blew me away most, of course, the movie was good, but I think what blew me away most was at the end. At the end, the credits, like the only credit that was not you was the actor,
Yeah.
and it was like, okay, so cinematographer Sid Lattimore, VFX and sound design Sid Lattimore, written and directed by Sid Lattimore, cinematographer Sid Lattimore, and I was just why this was so amazing to me is because I think about the things that God puts in our hearts and
Yeah.
how people a lot of time, because as a coach with clients, people struggle with dreams and purpose and whatnot. A lot of them hide behind
Mm-hmm.
and say, I can't find it, I don't have one. But a lot of it is because of fear. And a lot of it is because it looks impossible, which
Mm-hmm.
is why I kind of want to talk about why that affected me, because it was like, okay, this girl did everything except act. And then I think she did act in it because I think she was in the shadow, in the shower curtain shadow or something.
Oh.
It looked like you. I don't know. But I just want you to tell us a little bit about when you realized that your purpose was to do these things in this season, because it seems like to me that God just kind of, everything that's performing arts just kind of vomited into you. I mean,
Yeah.
I hate to use that way, but since you're a horror person, you get what I'm saying. It's like, all things performing arts, you're not just doing one thing, you're doing like the whole kit and caboodle. And I think it's also awesome because you're a woman, and
Yeah.
we don't expect horror films a lot of times out of women.
Oh yeah,
So that's new too. Um,
yeah.
so yeah, what made you kind of, because you bootstrapped this whole thing, right? I mean,
What you mean? I did what?
you just you did it on your own. I mean, you didn't have,
Yeah.
did you have angel investors or anything like
Uh,
that?
no. The only
Exactly.
investor I had was my own pockets. Like, and so because like making films is expensive. I just kind of spent over the years finding ways that I could like, I guess I felt it was better for me than teaching someone or finding someone and paying someone because it becomes expensive, every film you do. I thought it'd be better to just teach myself all the things that I needed from people, because a lot of times when it comes to films, like, things can get very messy. And one thing I'll tell you is that if you're on a professional film set, an indie film set, the only thing that is kind of true is that it'll never go as planned. So you kind of have to go with like the flow of things to get it to work. And my biggest problem was finding people just as dedicated as I was, who in the areas that I needed people. Like, if I was like, before I started learning visual effects, I was like, man, I have this idea for this awesome short film, but this visual effects artist is only open on Tuesdays and he's charging $700. And it's like, oh well, don't have $700 because I gotta make
Not
rent.
in the budget.
And, yeah. Not in the budget. So I was like, all right, it'd probably be better if I just teach myself like how to do these things, because then I don't have to really rely on anything or anyone. It was just kind of like self-reliant on myself, you know?
Um, Again, like, what made you not faint at it? Like, I'm sure it looked impossible, but what made you kind of just go, okay, it's impossible, but okay, let's do this? What
Like,
was,
just film in general.
and
Um,
yeah, and making, yeah, and making a movie all on your own, doing everything, what made you just go ahead and embrace it?
I think it's because it was something I kept always coming back to. Like, because like film is like one of those things that it's really hard to get into, and there's no like clear path. Like, if you want to be like a lawyer, you go to law school. If you want to be a nurse, you go to nursing school. Film is one of those things where you can just go to film school and that's it. Like, that's just the beginning for you once you graduate. So I think for me is that I would do film, and then I'd be like, okay, it's my either my parents or somebody doesn't think like I can make a substantial living out of it, and they always told me to have like a backup. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go try to do this, and then I'd go do that, and I'm like, that's
Your
boring.
heart, wasn't it?
That's
Your heart.
boring. So
Yeah.
I'd come back to film, and I'd be like, oh God, I'm so happy doing film. I just don't know if I can make money off of it. This is like young. So I was like, oh, I don't know if I can make money off of it. And then I would go off and do something else where I think like, okay, this will be like a reputable thing for me to do. And then I'd try it out and be like, nah. And then it just was something I always kept coming back to. And then I always had fun doing it. And just, yeah, I think that's when I was like, okay. And then also, like when I started making like little fun short films when I was in middle school, I got my first camera, and I think what helped me stick to it was that like my older brother, he'd be like, Lexi, like, your little films are really great. Like, it's really good. Like, you edit really well and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, like, and I used to look up to my older brother. So I was like, oh, okay, well, then I'm going to continue to do this. I'm going to always have it in my life some way, somehow, you know?
So I think that's interesting because one thing when I do work with clients, I do when you're trying to follow purpose, one clue is what lights you up on the inside. And you were saying how it made you happy,
Yeah.
which is what I call following bliss. Other people following purpose, following bliss, doing those things that make you happy. And we're so programmed as we grow up, as we become socialized, to really do the opposite of what our hearts tell us to do.
Yeah.
And then because we're so obsessed with our version of success, it's like, do something that makes money. And then let's say you do that. Let's say you go to college and you get a degree, you make some money, and you're still not happy. And
Yep.
so I think that we place too much on, don't get me wrong, I believe that God wants us to be abundant in every area. So I'm not saying that money is not a part of that. What I
Yeah.
am saying is I think that we make money the motivator, and then we try to fit all this stuff that would make us money instead of looking at what lights us up inside and not recognizing that actually what all the stuff that God put in us to fulfill, it includes money to be made out of that. Like eventually this will make you money.
Yeah.
But right now you might have to start out serving and just doing it for your joy and doing it for to give other people joy.
Oh
But
yeah.
as you go, you have to develop these other talents, which I've had to do as a businesswoman, as other things, because there's a show and then there's business, so
Yeah.
they go together. And so I just believe that I really think it's awesome. The movie was awesome. I do want to talk a little bit about the movie, but this just really blew my mind at the end of it, because I know you made the movie, but when
Yeah.
the credits are like all you, and I'm thinking of people like who started out that way, like Spike Lee and what's his name, the one that does everything now. Nope, him, Jordan Peele.
Oh, Jordan Peele.
Uh-huh,
Oh
uh-huh.
man,
And
amazing.
they're like directed, produced, blah blah blah, this, that, and the other. And so a lot of times it's not, when God gives us mentors and people that are like 10 steps beyond where we are at that moment. And just like whoever your mentors are, they might be Spike Lee or Jordan Peele. I don't know, but
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, at least a few of them. Yeah, for sure.
yeah, but they're further down the line than where you are right now, but you're aspiring to get there. Just like for you, especially being a female, and especially being a Black female.
Oh
On top of that,
yeah.
I think you're going to be a role model as well, if not already, for little girls who want to be in horror, because we're socialized romance and Disney
Oh
stories,
yeah.
all that other stuff. So,
Yeah.
the whole, I did go through a horror phase when I was younger, where I just watched horror movies, and scared myself to death. But hey, Chelsea's on.
Hey Chelsea.
Um, but yeah, I think that it is awesome, and you're a good example. And this is why I like to interview people that are following their hearts and their bliss, because a lot of times others who are looking from the outside are not going to understand it, because it's not going to make sense to the way we've been conditioned to follow success.
Oh
and,
yeah.
and because they care about you. Hi, Alex. And because they care about you, so they're like, having,
Right
well,
for me.
like having a backup that's good wisdom, because a
Yeah.
lot of times when we are following dreams, we do have to do other things to fund that, to live,
Yeah.
to pay our bills, whatever. But
Yeah.
I think not losing focus of the reason why you're put here, what you're doing, and that it makes you happy and that it lights you up. And I really wish that I really wish that we did not have to go through that sort of like the Matrix, where you get this conditioning that goes the opposite. That's why the Matrix it's always going to be a classic great film,
Oh yeah. It was before its
because
time.
you're doing the opposite of what you were programmed to do, and you're even functioning the opposite of what your spirit is saying. Whether you call it spirit or energy or whatever, we are spiritual beings. And so having that insight, getting the wisdom from inside instead of looking from the outside and going, oh, what should I do? Should I be a lawyer? Should I be a doctor? Should I be a, and nothing's wrong with lawyers and doctors. We need everybody. But
Yeah.
a lot of people are doing things just for money or just to survive, or their heart is not in it, and it's making them miserable. And
Yeah.
what I try to get people to understand is that that's not God, because God does want us to be happy, but I know religion will teach us that God wants you to suffer, sometimes. And it's
Yeah.
always this thing of suffering, always this thing of suffering and serving. And I think when you think about love, you have to start from yourself first. And then, because once you really realize that God is on the inside, then you have a real relationship that's not
Yep.
in religion, based in religion, just meaning a religious mindset. And
Yep.
putting God in this small box, which puts us in this small box because we're the same. We're
Yeah.
intertwined with God. We're a piece of God walking around here on earth. So you're an expression of God, and the spirit really uses you in the creative genre, the creative arts. I have some of the creative arts thing, but not to the extent you do. Mine is a little different, where the dance, because you dance too, but
Yeah.
yeah, you do everything. But like, I teach musical theater, but it's something, because I have the gift of being a teacher. You could kind of teach anything because it's your gift, but it's not necessarily, it lights me up, but not like coaching, not like ghostwriter, who are like thinking about writing content for people on social media,
Yeah.
coaching people. That lights me up on the inside. So everything I do for that business, I'm always happy, even if I work into the evening hours, which I'm sure you can, it resonates with you. Chelsea says, LOS, yes, jack of all trades. She's saying that to
Yeah.
you.
What's up,
And
cousin? Sorry.
yeah, and so I just kind of wanted you, we'll go back to Four Corners,
Okay.
but I kind of wanted to know, just because this is a get writing in there a little bit, even though there was no dialogue in that movie, there was dialogue in, what was the other one called? It was like 3 years ago. With the couple in the house, and she saw the man in the window.
Oh,
And,
Windows.
oh, windows. Okay, so there was
Yeah,
dialogue in
Windows.
that one. So what sparks your creativity, and then how does that inspire you to write? Like, what's that process like?
Okay. I gotta answer the questions one at a time. 'Cause I'm gonna
Yeah,
go
I mean, do it. Yeah, fine. Yeah.
Okay, so the first question is, what sparks my creativity?
Mm-hmm.
To be quite honest with you, like a lot of the time when I come up with like horror films and stuff, it's either something I've experienced or something I've had like dreamt of. Like, you know what I mean? I used to suffer a lot like with like sleep, like not sleeping very well.
Mm.
And I was like having nightmares like every night. And of course, like it to me, I'm like praying to the gods. I'm like, God, can I just like have one real dream that's not gonna like wake me up in a panic? And I found out it was like, because I was dealing with a lot of stress. When you stress, you have nightmares. But instead of like getting scared of them, what I started to do is I would like write them down, and figure out the reasons like why. Because a lot of times like your dreams will tell you something. So like, I was trying to figure out why, but then I realized like when I was figuring out the why, I'm like, oh, this is why I'm having this dream is because I had spicy food before I went to, or something, whatever reason it was, or I'm having some emotional issues or something. But then I would take that idea and I'd be like, that really scared the crap out of me. Let me see if I can recreate that.
Let me see if I can scare the crap out of everybody else. In
Yeah,
other
I
words.
tried to turn it into a creative thing, and that's not for everything, but a lot of times it was either a dream or a scene I had in my head, or something that's happened in real life or that I've kind of altered.
Mm. Chelsea said, yes, dreams are messages. And hello, Rajveer.
Hi. Hi, True Religion. That's a skate friend.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Okay.
dreams are definitely messages for sure. I get a ton of them.
Okay. And so would you say, as far as, okay, so you get the dream or the idea, and then you at some point you have to like I don't know what your brainstorming process is. Some people sit and write like me, or else maybe you sit in meditation, or else maybe you go skateboarding or whatever. How does it develop from that?
From the idea to the
Mm-hmm.
film.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so honestly, um, I've looked this up because I only know, like, not all writers do this, but most of them do that, where they completely seclude themselves. So what I'll do is I'll have an idea, and then it's like once I have the idea, you won't hear from me for days. Like, so
Okay.
so what I'll do is, like, I'm off social media. Nobody
Mm-hmm.
can get text messages from me, calls from me, no nothing. Everything is on airplane mode until I am done because I don't like to be distracted. So once I have the idea, I'll sit down and I'll kind of like do like prep work, like I'm trying to think of the word it is, like a pre-production where you write out, you do like the story circles, and you take the ideas and you kind of elaborate on them, and you
Mm-hmm.
figure out what works, or this sounds a lot like this movie, how can I make it my own, how can I make a twist on it, like how can I make it different, and then
Stop
once.
right there. Stop right there. When you
Okay.
said, how can I make it my own? I think this is where a lot of people struggle with writing, and especially writing for social media, because
Yeah.
writing for social media, especially for brands, you have to educate, entertain, and empower. And I think a lot of times we get, because we have so much to consume on social media, it's very easy to compare yourself. And I think you're saying that you even though you might have like we say a Jordan Peele or a Spike Lee or something like that as a mentor, you still look for ways to make it your own. And I
Yeah.
think that's very important, that when you're writing, you make things your own. And and so I just kind of wanted to point that out, that it makes writing a little easier too when you just really align with your authentic self and not try to be anybody else. So I
Yeah.
thought that was really cool. But go ahead with your creative process.
Yeah, I mean, I just try to like make it my own and try to make it different. And I think a lot of times, which would be like good advice, I think that's the best advice. I don't remember who gave me this advice, and it was a long time ago when I was making films as just like a baby filmmaker, like in my teens. All films have been done yet. It's just all about from what perspective, and I think that's how you make it different. Is you try to think from whose perspective, what perspective is that, and that's how I try to attack it, is because, yeah, everybody has good ideas, and there's a lot of things that have been played out, but sometimes it's more about having a different perspective rather than the perspectives we've always been given when it comes to film. But
Right, because you can look at it and go, and this is a lot of times when you are following your dreams, you can look at an area like coaching, say, and say it's oversaturated. And then on social media, especially because you have a lot of therapy, everybody's mentally
I don't
aware and all these other
believe
things.
that.
But what I'm saying is,
Oh, sorry.
even though there's nothing new under the sun, so to speak, it's new because you're going to present it in a way that God wants to express it through you. So although it might be a horror film or the genre of horror, there's a way that you're going to express it that nobody can express it like you.
Yeah.
So I just think that sometimes people get in their heads about their gifts and talents, thinking, well, oh, that person does it, oh, that person does it, or look at how much God expresses through this one or that one, when God is doing the same thing for you, but you have to take the focus off of the outside and look at what you have and what's on the inside and making it your own. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
So
for
I think that,
sure.
yeah.
And I mean, like, it's hard, but it's
Mhm.
sometimes it's more about like just being open and not being so fixated on it has to be like this. Like, you know what
Mhm.
I mean? Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. So once you go into your you sequester yourself off from the rest of the world. And I understand that. I spend a lot of time in isolation myself. I just kind of
Yeah.
live that way outside of, when I have to do stuff, when I have to go work and stuff. But
Right.
and so because in the quiet, which is why I try to get people to understand that meditation is not spooky. When you sit in quiet, or when you're quiet a lot, you can hear yourself so much on the inside. You can hear wisdom. You can hear clearly. It's easier to follow your heart when you're spend that time in quiet. And
Yep.
so when you start writing, does it, when, I guess because it's for film, maybe part of it starts off in that pre-production process, but then do you have to write as you're filming the film? Do you see that maybe something needs to be put in or taken out or edited or whatever?
Yeah, for sure. That happens a lot. A lot of the times is that if a film gets changed on set, it's because like something just was not working out. We tried everything, or we're running over production time and we need to get this done by this date for this film festival. So we're like, okay, how can we still convey this message but possibly like change it up to kind of like it all depends on what's going on. But yeah, for sure. uh on yeah I definitely changed stuff on set before, and I think with Four Corners I had to for the ending because the location, like my friend's apartment that we shot that in,
Mm-hmm.
he had to move out like a month before we started shooting, so we had to like cram it, and he was like moving his stuff out at the same time as we were doing. So yeah, we had to like crunch time, and like we didn't alter it, but we did kind of like, you know what I mean, cut some corners to make sure it got out on time before all his furniture was gone.
Right. And I think what was interesting about that movie as well is, I mean, I know you had your idea about what it was about, but to me, I felt like he was in his brain. Even the title of it, Four Corners, and how it kept, the editing, and then he would end up kind of back where he started in certain areas. And I was like, this is like being in your mind, and it's even like a dream sequence, really,
Yeah.
kind of the way it was filmed. And although there was no dialogue, did you still have to like write for that, even though there was no verbal dialogue?
Yeah, so it's more about like writing emotion about, you know, like how the character is feeling, just so it's better for the actor to convey, and then also it's better to set things up that way because everything's like a domino effect. If I write a film without like no real, like not really invoking any kind of emotion to the actors or like the characters and stuff like that, like I mean, what am I really telling then? I mean, because that's kind of the purpose of film. And I mean, of course there are films out there that, you know, don't need any actors. There's some editors and people who can do that beautifully without it, and that's actually something I'd like to try one day, like no actors, just showing just locations and things.
Oh,
But
interesting.
but yeah, a lot of times like I write the emotions because it intertwines with everything, like from location, the feeling, to when I'm color grading, you know, because colors invoke like feelings, you know what I mean. There's a whole there's actually a whole like college course on color theory and how certain colors make us feel certain ways.
They
So
have energy behind it.
yeah,
So
so same thing with emotions. Like I need to be able to convey in a way that a human's gonna understand. So I have to, you know.
okay, I do want to know this as a writer, because there are brands you have worked for like Doritos and that other one, Regalio.
Relasiga.
Yeah. So how do you still remain authentic when you're not in control of the project? Like somebody hires you as,
Oh.
how are you able to still maybe put a little bit of you in there?
Well, the reason I think the reason why those brands reached out for me, because I did like a lot of like social media posts for them, like on Instagram for Doritos,
Mhm.
and you know, I've done like some other stuff for Relasiga. It was mostly around like marketing and social media and stuff. But I think what made them choose me in the first place or find me, and what made me stand out, was the fact that I already had my own flair. So they
Mhm.
were just like, oh, we
They were
want
attracted
this.
to the brand of like
Yeah,
of
they were
Sid.
like, we want this exactly, but in your flair.
Okay.
And you know, that's really hard. I'm gonna tell you, it's really, really hard. And a lot of times when you work for like big corporates and stuff like that, um, it kind of feels like, and I mean, I don't mean this in any disrespect, but it kind of feels like you're being robbed of your creativities, because the thing is, like, you can't have anything to do with your work after that. It doesn't belong to you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things, like, you put your creative flair on, then you be willing to be open, but you have to be okay to also be in, like, some boxes too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I don't know if that made sense.
It does, because you're working for someone else, and again, it's corporate, and they're more on the business side of it. Even though they're
Yeah,
attracted to the artistic and creativity in you, they still want to rein that in because it's like it's their brand, which is
yeah.
understandable.
And if you
So,
if being if people are okay with doing revisions upon revisions upon revisions, then you'll be fine. But if you're one of those people who you're like, I can't render a 17th render for you, then that's when things get like a little like, I can't do this now. you
okay.
know.
So were you like an ambassador for them, or were you
No. They
writing?
no, I just they would say they'd like, okay, for instance, like, they'd say, okay, for the winter time, we're gonna do Cool Ranch, whatever. Give us your ideas. You would kind of give up ideas. You do like mock-ups and kind of show, like, pretty much just have like. Sometimes you would have slides trying to convey, because it's like you don't want to put in the work until it's been a green lighted. So you
Mm-hmm.
would like kind of come up with ideas and find ways to visually show those ideas to them. They'd be like, "Oh, I like that. Do that one." So it's like,
So you were kind of like a marketer for them, like giving them
yeah,
ideas about marketing.
kind of. I wasn't like a permanent marketer. It was kind of
Mm-hmm.
like contract. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you'd get it, like,
They
you
needed
know.
some new juice for, and they saw you. They were like, "Hey, she looks like she might know a thing or two about
Yeah,
putting some new flavor in here. So let's go to her."
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Which what I want to point out as well is when I'm talking about, we're talking about purpose and following your heart, and in those things there are streams of income. And so even listening to you, I see streams of income. There are streams that come out of your purpose if you are aligned to it. I think a lot of times we don't see opportunities, and because we're too busy like surviving in surviving mode. And I think you're just a good example, and that's why I keep asking questions about different things, because I want people to understand that in your purpose, and in your purpose there's many things that could be can be multiple streams of income.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them might be small ones. Some of them might turn into larger ones, especially
Yeah.
as sharpen your skills. Some skills you don't even know you have until you have to be
Oh,
tested,
yeah.
and then you're like, "Oh, I didn't even know I was a businesswoman. Oh, I didn't even know."
Yep.
I
How
went
did
through
I
that all
know?
this automated stuff online. It's like, I didn't even know I can do that. Oh, really? Okay. But you'll never know how powerful you are until you really start following your heart, I think. I mean, I think we
Yeah.
have some clue, but as I said, we get fearful about the impossibility of what God shows us. But what we have to understand is this God, and God does not expect us to do it by ourselves. There's a lot that, yes, we do in our physical bodies with our brains, but we co-create it with God. So the possible stuff we can do, and the stuff that seems impossible, we'll be doing some of that too. But God puts His awesome sauce on it, whatever you want to call it, and it mixes in with your stuff. But you have to give Him something to work through.
Oh,
And
yeah.
especially the way He created and wired you and whatnot. And don't be afraid of the way He created or wired you,
Oh.
because that is meant for you to develop. And there's always a start and a middle and a beginning, and an ongoing thing until we leave this atmosphere. So nobody's going to have it all together. I'm sure when you first
Mm-mm.
doing movies, you didn't know everything out of I'm sure you did your research, but I don't
Yeah.
care how much research you do, you actually put the action to it. There's going to be stuff that you're going to be learning on the
Oh,
job.
yeah.
So
And the fire, 100%. I think a
yeah.
lot of times with that is that, like, a lot of times people are just afraid to take, like, to be curious and take a risk, right? Like, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like people, they think like, oh man, like, I could try this, but they don't actually, like, try it or do any kind of action to try it, because I think at the end of the day people are scared of taking risks. And I mean, like, you know, it, and I'll tell you the truth, I'm not gonna sit here and say, like, you know, everything is perfect, because it does come at hard work, but hard work does eventually pay off. But I think that the minute that people like start getting curious and they're like, oh, you know, I possibly could do this, let me just give it a shot. Like, I think once people are just like, let me just spitball here and just give it a try, is when they're like, oh man, you know, maybe this is what I actually wanted to do all along. And I think that's what it is: curiosity, and then just taking the action and taking the risk, you know, because everything, I think every good thing comes with a risk. And sometimes the risk may be taking a lower pay grade just so you can keep up with your films, which I've had to do. You know, it sometimes it's just more about building up, uh, just being okay. Someone told me, be okay with the time and space. And at first, because I was like 19, I was like, I have no idea what that means. Who are you? It was a life coach, actually, and I used to do improv with him. Shout out to Paul 50. But he would always say, like, admire the time and space, which means just be okay with where you're at, even if it's not the greatest place. You know, and that's hard, but
Yeah,
it's true.
because your perception of what the greatest place is, we're always going to tend to be harder on ourselves. But what we have to understand is somebody who's looking at you, you might be inspiring somebody to go for what their heart is telling them.
Yeah.
And then I think when people get stuck with a lot of times with the what if, I had did a mindset chat about that. Get past the what if and start saying I will and I am,
Mm-hmm.
because the what if will keep you in the clouds. What if I could do this? That's just dreaming.
Yeah.
And if it keeps coming back to you, there's something there for you. So you might as well try it and take a risk, because what can happen? Okay, it might not work out, but then it might.
That's
So you
true.
have to be willing to take risk and go, you know what, this keeps coming to my heart, let me try it. And understand that everything takes hard work. It takes hard work not to follow your dreams. It takes
It
hard work
does.
not to be aligned. So you might as well align and follow your dreams. Either way, it's going to be hard work. You might as well make the work for you, versus just that survival mode. You shouldn't want to live just, getting through the day. We all have those type of days. What I'm saying is living from a space of that, just survival mode, because
Yeah.
we weren't meant for that. And okay, let me see. Whatever. Let me see. I know I should be wrapping up. Oh, okay. What story? What out of your short stories? What is your favorite and why?
Oh, my short stories?
Do you
Oh,
have a favorite, or is
I
there
have a
something that
favorite, but it's not a short story. Actually, it's not even like in production yet. Like, it's like I have been sitting on this script for years. Like, it's a feature length film, and it's like, I promise myself it's gonna be my breakthrough film. I promise myself. So it's called The Folk, and
you
it's
know
my
what? Alexis, 1 second. Chelsea said that is hard. I just want to comment on that real quick. Choose your hard. It's hard not to follow your heart, as well as it is hard to follow your heart. But you just have to choose your hard. That's all.
yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
And that
Go
might also be a hard time you're giving yourself, and it may not be as hard.
ahead. Right, exactly. Our subconscious will try to keep us safe,
Oh
and
yeah,
it will
yeah.
tell you all kind of stuff. And until you train it, it will tell you things to keep you safe, and to keep you from taking risks, and good risk. So I'm sorry. Go ahead,
Sure.
Alexa.
Oh, oh yeah. So my favorite one is like, God, when this, like, I'm not even trying to be funny, but when this comes out, I feel like I'm gonna get a huge, like, I feel like people are gonna like it, like horror fans are gonna like it, but I also know there's some people who's not gonna like it, because it really is kind of attacking at some like ideologies that we have within social media and media in general, and like that's my goal, is to break it. So I have a feature length film I wrote called The Folk, and it is, I promise you guys, one day when the funding comes around, I'm going to make that film. So just mark my words. But that is my favorite, because I've I tried to make it once, when it first wrote it, and I was like, this is too ambitious, and I need the funding for this and I want to do it right. But I remember when I gave it to all my actors and I had a cast of like 20 something people, every single one of them were just like, oh my God. Oh my God. And I remember I was so afraid of them reading it because I was like, I don't know how they're going to take this, but everybody loved it from like an art standpoint. They thought it was amazing. And that's my favorite. And I just can't wait until I get a chance to make that film. I can't wait. Like it's, yeah, The Folk.
The folk.
Listen, The Folk. Yep.
Let's spell that.
Folk. The
Oh,
Folk.
like folk.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, it sounds interesting.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay,
But
so what
do you
about your
want a
movie?
favorite that I've already done, I guess?
Or
That you
give me
can
your
see?
favorite movie that you've
My
done.
favorite that
That
I've
you've
done? Okay, my favorite movie that I have done. Thanks, Cece. It is juicy. Yes, it's juicy, I promise. Um, my favorite that I've ever done, I think would be um oh, that's hard. I think oh, that's really hard. I think it would be Billy. I think it would be Billy.
I
Um,
didn't see that one. I'll have to. Is it on your YouTube channel?
yes, it's on my
Okay.
YouTube. It was a short film that I had to do for a competition, and they were like, "Oh, you have 60 seconds to make a like to make an impression and like try to make the best film you can that we can understand and convey in 60 seconds." And I remember thinking to myself, I was like, "Who in their right mind can make a film in 60 seconds and make it make sense?" But then I realized that I actually can do it because I did it, and it was and after that everybody was like, we want more, and then I adapted that into a feature-length film I have not done either. So
And I think what's important about what you just said is that you question yourself, which we all do, like who could do a movie in 60 seconds? But then you said, I can do it. And once you have a mindset shift, you can do it.
wait,
You
can I
know?
add to that though? Not
Mm-hmm.
only did I do it, but I'm in production of an online series of 60-second shorts that I'm going to be making like for an online series, because I was like, that would be awesome to just have like something that could be ingested on social media for 60 seconds and to keep you engaged, and people can just like click on, watch it for 60 seconds and click off. Like it's not one of those things that they have to sit down and watch and go to YouTube. I mean, go to Netflix and be like, oh, now I gotta get popcorn. Like it's one of those things that you can just kind of pop in, and so it literally took
Sort
me
of
from
like
like,
reels, kind of.
yeah, well, yeah, kind of, but
Yeah.
it's gonna be like episodes, and each
Mm-hmm.
episode's different. Like it's an anthology series of like horror and sci-fi films, but they're all 60 seconds. And I literally got that idea from that competition because I was like, that's really cool, and that would be just really dope. Like think
Mm-hmm.
American Horror Story, not quite, but like 60 seconds. Like that would be really cool.
And see, a lot of times when because we're creatures of comfort, I think a lot of times people don't also follow dreams and purpose because it makes us uncomfortable. So putting yourself in uncomfortable places and feeling fear really makes us uncomfortable. Well, what I say to that is go ahead and be uncomfortable. There's growth in being uncomfortable, and do the stuff scared. There's been so many things that I have had to do scared starting a business, and then at my age, and then being vulnerable with my story and what I have gone through and what I have come through and what I have been what I've come through, and now I'm on the other side of it. And me being emotionally exposed like that is not my jam. You know what I'm saying? Me publicly speaking like I am to you, interviewing people, I would have never done this like a few years ago, just a few years ago, because it was never my jam. It's never my comfort zone. Now I'm like, I'd love to interview people. I've always liked people's stories, but I wouldn't want the spotlight. I've never been the one that wants the spotlight on them. And I'm not saying I necessarily want that now, but I know that I have found passion in people's stories and interviewing them. I've always loved autobiographical books and movies. And so finding out how people their story and how they've progressed, and especially the ones that are following their hearts and that are aligned. It's always fascinating to me. So now I don't even feel the fear anymore, but I had to start somewhere. I started out just do it scared, you know. And so I just want to say to anybody who's watching, who will catch it in the replay as well, that whatever you've been thinking or dreaming about, what keeps coming back to you, take a small step every day and do it scared, be uncomfortable, because the payoff, once you really start to do the work on yourself and just follow your heart, you'll be so happy, that, and you'll want to continue it on. There'll be hard places, but you'll get through them. You'll find yourself being strengthened in perseverance. You'll find yourself being strengthened, to have confidence and to believe in yourself. I was never one of those chicks who believed in myself and had confidence when I was growing up. I just rather, you know, be a fly on the wall. I put
Yeah.
all my effort into my kids, which I love them dearly, but I put no effort into myself because of my background. But once I really healed and aligned and just started following my heart, the fear is never going to go away. So you might as well just do it right
Yeah.
and do it
Can
afraid.
I, can I totally add
Yes.
to what you're saying?
Yes.
I agree with everything that you said, and you actually said something that I said to somebody recently, and I feel like maybe I should say it here. But also, there should not be an age limit on when you're supposed to accomplish things in your life. I think that I had that idea too, that I was like, oh man, by by the time I'm 30, I'm gonna have wife, kids, a film career, blah blah blah. But I didn't realize like all the hiccups and things that would happen in my life in between then that would kind of delay it. But then I realized it was kind of essential to my ascension. You know what I mean? And I think that if it weren't for certain things that I had in my life, I wouldn't have time to like, you know, work on my skills as much as I have. And because of that now, I can just literally say, today I want to make a film. I just need actors. I can do the rest. Like, what are we doing? Like, you
You
know what
just
I'm
do
saying?
it. You just like, hey,
So
I
there is
want
no
this.
age limit and there is no ethnicity. There honestly is nothing
It's
stopping
all
you the way
this.
it's
It's
there.
all this.
And
All
ideology
that
that they
limit
put in your
stuff.
head in media and social media and media general, news, anything that you ingest through media, do not follow what these people are freaking saying. Please don't.
Or just that you're even socialized with. You cannot let your race,
Yep.
your sex, your past, you
Your
can't
status.
let any of that affect what God has for you. And that's why I'm saying, when you operate from a pure relationship with God, that stuff is so, that's just stuff to keep you distracted and in a box.
Yep.
And once you realize that, you're like, wait a minute. Just like we tell our kids they can do anything, we can do anything we put our minds to, and we're well equipped to do those things that God, wants to express through us down here. And everybody has that within them. Everybody.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's all up here. It is up there for sure.
So I guess we should wrap up. I'm enjoying the conversation, and
You gotta have me come back.
yeah, I definitely will. And everybody who is watching, follow. Would you prefer them follow? Well, follow her. Subscribe to her YouTube channel, and Sid Lattimore. Watch her movies because they are awesome, and follow her on IG under Graphic Writer, right?
Graphic writer, yeah. And then
And
also my last film, Four Corners. Yeah.
right, Four Corners is on YouTube.
Yeah. Did you want to say something about Four Corners? Remember you made us wait? What was it about Four Corners? Was that it?
Oh, that's what I think. Well, I told you everything. I said, first of all, the credits and the fact that you did everything except, literally, I looked at everything and it was like you did everything except act.
Yeah.
That was the only credit you didn't give yourself. And the musical score, and come on,
yeah, that's more recent.
You
like
did that. Even
that was more recent. I recently taught myself how to do musical scores, like within the past year. So, like, I've done it once before for a film festival. That was my first time ever. But then after that, I was like, oh, finding royalty-free music is really hard. And producing music is actually easier than I thought. So I'm kind of like dedicated to that now because it flows, you know?
And I think also when you're also operating in your purpose, you will discover other talents within those talents. Like you just said, composing music.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I've seen you play the drums a little bit or whatever, but you know, who knew that you can compose music until you tried it, and then you're like, hey, I can do this.
Yeah.
So even within your talents, because God is a multiplier, there are other skills and talents. So once you open one box, there's like 3 boxes in there, you know? And if you go ahead and follow those boxes, then you'll be like, oh, I didn't even know I could do that. That's why I'm such an encourager of following your heart. And then, of course, like Leah, like Four Corners as well. I think I told you it was like a dream sequence. And I was thinking more of this was his mind, like the four corners of his mind. And then, especially with the rooms and then I think the graphics, I think for, you know, a short, hi,
Hi, Tracy.
Tracy. Oh, she has my middle name. I'm Tina Lorraine. You're Tracy Lorraine. Hello.
Nice.
Yeah, but even with the four corners of the mind, I was thinking with that, but the graphics in there were even, I mean, going back to the fact that you were a one-woman show doing everything, which should encourage everybody that what I said, if you put your mind to something, you can do it. And it doesn't matter how it looked. You didn't have like would you have one camera? One, maybe?
Oh, I operated with 2 cameras, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, okay, I had a camera for my gimbal, and then I had a camera on my tripod. Mm-hmm. And I kind of like switched between them, but yeah, I have more than one camera. It was just more about like it made the setup easier if I had one on a gimbal and I had one on a tripod.
Right, but what I'm saying is compared to somebody who does a short film who might have a actual budget, you still made it happen. It doesn't matter if you don't despise the small beginning if you have the heart to do it. Because guess what? In this paying your dues phase, everybody has to go through paying your dues. Yeah. Eventually, this is going to pay off for you and it'll pay off, you know, yeah, with money, but yeah, with popularity, yeah, with people recognizing your gifts. And if you continue to believe in yourself, another powerful force, believing in yourself, you have to believe in yourself. You have to have confidence in yourself, you know, and just go ahead and do it. And so yeah, I just thought that the movie was, it was very intriguing. I've been out of my horror phase for a while, so I can't assume a whole lot of that because I'm by myself. And but no, I thought it was really, really well put together. I thought for no dialogue, it was totally kept my attention.
Thank you. I
thought the music was, it underscored. Matter of fact, we're in music production at school. The kids are making tracks to pictures and to scary. They're going online and seeing short, scary stories and making the music for that. So I think that's interesting that there's that correlation that I just thought about.
Wow.
But yeah, so I just thought it was amazing that you did everything. I mean, I think that was what's the most amazing to me. I was like, yeah, the movie was great, but look at this, the credits, like she did everything.
I mean, it
just spoke to me that people can do what they want to do. You know, you just
I just didn't want anything stopping me. I think that's the biggest thing. And then like I think also people, do you know what's crazy is that ever since I was young, I was like, oh, you know, I'm not that smart, right? And then I got older and I realized how hard it is for people to pick up new things, and then how easy it is for me to pick up doing new things. And I was like, huh, I'm actually pretty smart. That was not a flex. That was like,
no, you're smart. And again, because you're really moving within your purpose, you will be surprised at how, like in my purpose, I'm very smart. I never thought I was like super, you know, whatever. Because I was comparing myself, first of all, in my past.
I always thought you were
should
smart.
never do. But yeah, but see, that's what I'm saying. Other people look at from the outside and be like, what is she tripping on? But now I'm like, I know that it's easy for me to pick up things within my realm because I'm wired for it. And
Right.
I think a lot of times, oh, that's just, people, that's just common sense. It was like, no, somebody doesn't think the way you do because
Yep.
that's your gift and your talent. And that's what you have to realize,
Yep.
that we have these gifts for a reason, and that's to bless other people. Entertainment blesses people, coaching blesses people, therapy blesses people.
Yep.
Whatever you do it with all of your heart and make sure you're aligned to your heart. Everybody's not meant to be doctors and lawyers, and we need those people, but everybody's not meant to be those people. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. That's true. I
So,
think everybody wants to be the people, but I think sometimes like you said, if it's something you're coming back to, then that's probably what you're meant for. You
yeah,
know?
and in that is your provision. You just
Yeah.
have to lose this idea that this version of success that you have in your head, that you've been programmed to believe.
Yeah.
Because everybody has their own version of success, and it includes money. And it just, and you can have as much money or as little money as you want. It depends on how you think, how you're wired, and how much you're willing to go after what you want that's in your heart and really believe.
Yeah.
You
My
know.
money's good, but are you inspired? Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
So, is there any closing words you wanted to say?
I wanted to say you're awesome. I love what you have going on here. Thank you for having me.
Oh no.
And I will be sure to let you know when the next project comes. Well,
Yes.
The next project is Sid's Short Stories, which is the 1 minute anthology series that I'm doing. It's going to be on YouTube and Instagram. I already have a page for it if you guys want to check it out. It's on my graphic writer page, as well as my aunt. That's my aunt. As well as my aunt. She knows I'm a performer as well, and I just started a team of dance performers in Orlando, Florida, and I have a page for that as well, so you can find everything that I'm doing on my Instagram, to be honest.
It's all under graphic writer, right?
Well, it's not under graphic writer because
No.
graphic writer is my personal, but if you go to my bio, it has all of my projects I'm doing right now.
So they're under your bio on graphic
On
writer?
graphic writer, yeah.
Okay, on Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay. And so are you on TikTok too, or?
I am on TikTok. I don't do them often, but if you guys want to follow me, that is also graphic writer. So graphic writer, yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else that I know I know Facebook is like too old for you, but
Yeah. No, I have a Facebook too. I get on there every now and again, but
yeah,
yeah.
not much.
That is not.
Yeah, once I really got into IG, I'm kind of just the IG
Yeah.
girl now. It's kind of hard to go back over to Facebook, isn't it?
It's just it's so stale.
Well, I mean, it's like for more my age group actually, but I like IG, and I'm starting to like TikTok.
TikTok's cool, yeah.
Yeah, I have to.
I'm working on it. Like people always
Yeah.
tell me, you need to get a TikTok, and then I got one. I only done like a few. I was like, I don't.
Yeah,
have
I just
time.
put reels up. I just do reels. I have to like sit with it and see what all I can do. But yeah, so everybody just follow her on Graphic Writer on IG so you can see all the things that she's doing. Subscribe to her YouTube channel under Sid Lattimore.
Thank you.
And if you want to follow me, I am Tina Lorraine. Yeah, I am Tina Lorraine on IG. Or Tina Loves to Dance. I prefer I am Tina Lorraine because I put everything under there. And also on Facebook, I'm Tina Lorraine Ward. And on TikTok, I think I'm Tina Lorraine's Got This on TikTok.
Hey.
Hey. Thank you all for joining us tonight, and everybody that's watching on replay.
Thanks, guys.
Nikki, no.
Oh, that's a friend of mine. Hi, her name is Jess. Hi, Jess.
Okay. Well, Jess, catch the replay because now we're getting ready to go off. But it was awesome, and Sid did an awesome job. Yeah. And she's going to come back when she launches her new work. We're going to have her back on.
Oh, yeah.
All right. All right.
Thank you.
Bye, Chelsea. Thanks for coming on.
Bye, guys.
Bye.